This one will show you the major pathway from oral cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and also list their function. It's good when you finish this chapter, go back and take a look. This one will show you the accessory organ. Majorly is salivary gland, liver, gallbladder, and pancreas. Now we starting from the function first. For this digestive system, they divide to a very detailed procedure. When we see digestion, actually we mentioned that we're talking about chemical enzyme and the chemical breakdown, the reaction. So we call digestion. Okay. If we are only eating something, is injection. Then we have a mechanical processing. That means our teeth, our mouth, or even muscle in the stomach, they can contract. That is part of this procedure. And secretion here is different from endocrine. Secretion means exocrine. Okay, it is from the accessory gland we release buffer or mucus or enzyme go to the GI tract, we call lumen, and that's secretion. Okay. In the endocrine, we're talking about secretion. We're talking about endocrine cell produce hormone go to the blood circulation, and this one is not. This one go to the lumen part here. Is go to the middle part of this GI tract. Absorption means after the chemical breakdown, either amino acid, glucose, or lipid, fatty acid, and then we absorb from by capillary, blood capillary, or lymphatic capillary. Excretion means get rid of everything. So the beginning is injection, and here is E as exit. Okay, ejection, and then I get rid of the solid waste. Before I say the organ, we have to mention again, all this digestion system, just like the lung and the heart, they all have two membranes. Outside is parietal peritoneum. Inside is visceral peritoneum, just cover the organ. In between is peritoneum cavity, and they had fluid in between. It's kind of serous membrane. Okay, just like the lung, like the heart. Okay, the stomach also had two peritoneum. The liver also had two. Okay. Now, all the abdominal cavity, we don't have bone or muscle inside the center of cavity. And how we hold it? We hold it by mesentery. It's a double layer of the peritoneum membranes. This one we have different type of mesentery. I'll tell you later. Okay. The function of the mesentery is supporting, holding the organ, stabilize in the abdominal pelvic cavity, and it also provide a loop for blood vessel to go in, out, lymphatic vessel and nerve fiber, and it also can prevent the long small intestine kind of entangle. This one is one system called mesentery, and the other system called retroperitoneum is not holding by this double membrane. It's holding by a very strong connective tissue go to the back side of the body. Okay, and here are these two kidneys, one pancreas, rectum, the last part of large intestine, and duodenum, one part of the first part, small intestine. So I would like you go to this mesentery system in the embryo. I give you a little bit idea. This embryo, we cut it from 4 weeks and 5 weeks. then you know the neural tube that will form a spinal cord. And then we have this cavity very big here, is digesting tract. In the beginning, only one tract here, and then you separate two digesting tract and accessory organ here. This one will be a liver. Okay. So when we cut this, we call this visceral peritoneum, and on the top here we call dorsal mesentery, and here is visceral, and we go down to here. So all the structure holding this small intestine, large intestine is all coming from mesenteries, and we divide to ventral part and the dorsal part. In the ventral part is holding liver, we call fascicle, or lesser omentum between the liver and stomach. And for the dorsal part, we call great omentum, is in the later side, or in the outer curve of stomach. And we have mesentery proper holding all small intestine. We have mesocolon, colon means large intestine. This one for holding all the large intestine. So I think it's a good idea to know, because our body is moving around, how can the small intestine and the large intestine, they are holding in the right place. And I like this figure to show you just all the small intestine, they are holding together, prevent it tangle, and that's what they call mesentery proper. Okay. And all of these large intestine, ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon, sigmoid colon, rectum, they are holding together by the other piece called mesocolon. They divide to transverse mesocolon, descending, ascending. Don't worry about it. Just all mesocolon. Okay. For holding all these large intestine together. And for the stomach, close to the inner curve, we call lesser omentum connect to liver. And greater omentum, we cut it down, actually look like apron going down to the whole abdominal cavity. And so here you had an idea of ventral mesentery is close to related to liver part. Fascicle, the one I will show you right now. In the middle here we call fascicle ligament. And actually had two branches. I would call it coronary ligament. Actually, it's a branch of fascicle ligament, look like a Y shape here, and it's holding what? Liver to diaphragm. The better one to look at is this sagittal section. I like this one. It shows you under this diaphragm, below the chest. We have liver here, very big tissue, and how it can hold it. On the top is fascicle ligament. Okay, hold it. And it's not only the Y shape we call coronary ligament. It also goes to the middle of the liver, and it connects the next part with stomach. And in between we call lesser omentum. Lesser omentum here. And here's stomach. Stomach, when it go down, it look like this. If we continue, and it look like apron, going very deep, great omentum. And actually it's a long U shape. And then we'll make a curve and connect to transverse column. So it's a stomach and it's apron go down and then go up. Okay, and that's the best, the biggest part for adipose tissue in our body. Okay, in some adipose person, there could be 2 or 3 inch. The thing, okay, the whole thing look like a big apron here going down. Okay, And now you can see there's all small intestine because we cut from sagittal section, and so we only can see some part of this circle, but it also is continued to one pathway, one track, okay? And holding that together is a mesentery proper, okay? And large intestine we cannot see very well, only see part of this mesocolon, okay? But now you focus on something is not holding by mesentery, is holding by retroperitoneum, and one of them is pancreas, and one section of them duodenum, and the other one part of this one rectum is holding by here, this retroperitoneum. And kidney we cannot see it because it's cutting from the middle, and kidney is to that side. And kidney, chapter 26, we will mention about that. It also holding very tight to the back side of the body, very close to this vertebral bone. Okay. And so here I want to go back to here. Okay. From the dorsal mesentery, the major part is great omentum, that is the outer curve of stomach. And mesentery proper, everything goes to small intestine. Just like artery, mesentery artery will go to all small intestine. Mesocolon is connect all this large intestine, ascending, transverse, and descending. Okay, and so this one is the one. All right. Now, several years ago, almost 2 years ago, right, 2.5 years ago, one group of people they published a paper in the Lancet, very popular medical magazine, and they treat this mesentery as a new organ, and so they say they are not only supporting tissue holding the small intestine, large intestine, stomach. They have some special function. So probably the textbook will change, and maybe several years later they will treat mesentery as a organ. Okay. Now I put a different color here. I think in between the digesting organ, how we hold together, I think it's important you to know this. Okay. Usually falciform and lesser is on the top, close to the liver, and this three is close to stomach and small and large intestine. And now, from other textbook, it shows you, now we pull up the liver, and so you can see the falciform ligament also go to the middle, and here's stomach. And you can see here, the purpose I want to show you is a great omentum. It's like adipose tissue, the apron cover below this outer curve of stomach. And if we pull it up, all the apron, it looks like adipose tissue, a very big piece. And if we straight this large intestine, you can see all that together here is mesocolon. Okay, so even we exercise, the large intestine is not going to twist together because in between they have this structure mesocolon. And in between the small intestine, we have mesentery proper. You don't put a proper here. Mesentery proper. And here again, we pull up the liver. I just want to show you middle part is a falciform, and here's lesser omentum. Right now, the greater omentum we don't show you. We show you the lesser omentum. So the liver and the stomach is connect together by lesser omentum. Okay, and this one you in our plastic model, kind of difficult to show you that this, but you have to know this. Liver, stomach, they are connected together. Okay, and the meso column for large intestine is a bit behind the small intestine. You cannot see that. All right, so now you had an idea how we hold this digestive system. Now we go to the histology. All the GI tract, they have 4 areas: mucosa, submucosa, and muscularis externa and selosa. And I'd like to jump quickly. I'll jump quickly to here. Let's show you. Here's part of small intestine, and then you can see there's mesentery holding blood vessel, and you can see a lot of curve inside of that. Make a lot of folding. We call precut circularis. Big curve here, and here's a big curve, big curve. They are not smooth in the lumen. And then if we look carefully, we will see they have a lot of U-shaped structure here. Then we call it villa. Okay, we call it villa. And then on the top of it, we have microvilla. Okay, so here, the single one, we call villas. Okay, they will increase the surface area. And on the epithelial cell, they have a hair-like structure, and we call microvilla, or we call brush border. Brush border. And now I want to show you is we have 4 areas. Mucosa is outside. The food will be on the center part here. And then we have some mucosa. And you can see mucosa is had a bundle separate to some mucosa by a tiny layer of muscle. Okay, this one will tell you later. We call muscularis mucosa. I mean muscle of mucosa. And some mucosa will be large blood vessel, and lymphatic vessel, or mucosa gland, okay, or nerve fiber, and then muscularis externa, I mean muscle outside, because this one we treat as an inside, and this one is outside. We have circular muscle, longitudinal muscle, and outermost we call selosa. Selosa actually cover the stomach, cover the intestine, and we call visceral peritoneum. Now we're starting from this mucosa. Now you had an idea, and in between this area we call lamina propria. Okay, that's you had the background MP1, you know that. That's in between that connective tissue, and a lot of this mucus gland here. All right, so we go back to number 1. Oh, sorry, I'm going the wrong direction. Yes, the epithelial cell on the oral cavity and the esophagus on the top before the stomach, and on the last part is anus. It's a stratified squamous epithelial cell, and in between stomach, small intestine, large intestine, we call simple columnar, and that's what reabsorption the nutrient. The lifespan of epithelial cell is within 1 week. That means epithelial cell will die, will be replaced by the stem cell under it. The folding, the structure, the big one we call precut, okay? And then the small one we call villa, single called villas. And lamina propria is in between the structure, has small blood vessel and mucus gland. Muscularis mucosa will be the innermost layer for mucosa, and between the submucosa. And in the submucosa, we see large blood vessel, and we have some neuron there we call submucosa plexus. That means neuron discovered by Dr. Mesner. So we also call plexus of Mesner. And this one is kind of sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve, and it contains sensory neuron. I mean input from outside this epithelial cell. Okay. Now I just put I had to put a stop between the ST stratified squamous. Okay, I can put you can put a hyphen here. Okay, from the oral cavity all the way up to the end of esophagus, stratified squamous epithelial cell, and also the anus, the last part, is stratified squamous epithelial cell. And in between this stomach and the rectum, they all simple column. Okay, and so here I summarize all this epithelial cell in the GI tract. The top and on the bottom is stratified, so I put ST, SQ. Okay, stratified squamous epithelial cell, and in between all this functional organs, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, all simple column. Okay, so very easy to know this. Okay. They don't have ciliate, not just like the trachea. The folding of the small intestine we call precut, and this one will show you in the jejunum, in the middle part of you can see very well. There's a lot of folding there. If we have this animal or a human organ, you can see that. It looks like a small folding, but actually it's very big here. Single one we call precut circularis. Okay, so the folding, the bigger one is precut, and then a small one we call villus, single villus, and on the villus we have microvillus. You know the sequence. And again, here is one precut circularis. And we just finished the area called mucosa, okay? Mucosa and submucosa. Look at the yellow color here. It's a neuron. It's called submucosa plexus. They had a nerve fiber branch to the epithelial cell here. And if they change the temperature, change the pH value, and they have sensory neuron can send to this submucosa plexus. Okay. And now we show you a little bit detail. Inside a single villus, you can see that the lymphatic vessel, or we call latia, is in here, absorb latia, absorb lipid or fatty acid, and blood vessel absorb glucose, amino acid. And we do have some goblet cell or mucous cell in between, and then we have a lot of ciliate structure we call microvilla, or called brush border. And here's amplified one villus. And the cell here, the white spot here is mucous cell, or we call goblet cell. Okay. And then we have brush border, cannot see very well. The tissue has hairline structure. This one I copied from other textbook. It show you one villa, and show you the green color is latia, and on the top is epithelial cell, and on the top of epithelial cell is microvilla. We also call it brush border. Okay. So the first area is mucosa, and then we have submucosa. Now we go to the sub area called muscularis externa, muscle of outside, and it is inner name there. Sorry about that. I'll go down here. Is inner part here is circular muscle, and outer part is longitudinal muscle. We don't miss the name. Sorry. And they can keep this smooth muscle contraction we call peristalsis. They do have like a pacemaker there. Okay? They had a neuron called mesenteric plexus, and this one has sympathetic, parasympathetic ganglion, and this one is sensory.